Good afternoon, AP biologists. Welcome to Module 7, Photosynthesis and Cellular Respiration. Hopefully above you are able to do some serious review about these two very large and very important concepts. Now we're going to answer a quick FRQ question related to these concepts, and then you can do your independent practice. So first, you're given this graph, and there was this writing below. Let's read through the prompt. Many aquatic animals can hold their breath and dive underwater for long periods of time. During long dives, lactic acid builds up in tissues of the organisms. Lactic acid is a vocabulary word, so this vocab word immediately should have you trigger what. So think about what is lactic acid associated with? So what are my word associations around lactic acid? Okay, you should yell it out now. And if you yelled out anaerobic respiration, then you nailed it, because that's exactly what you should be thinking about. Anaerobic respiration, glycolysis, and that happens in the cytoplasm. Just naming all those things is review. So anaerobic respiration does not need, if you yelled out oxygen, you are correct. The graph above shows how blood lactate levels following the dives of different duration for 3 species. Lactate is produced when lactic acid is dissolved in the blood and becomes ionized. Okay, so we're looking at these 3 species, and we're looking at their dive duration and then their blood lactate levels. So it looks like the emperor penguin has high lactate levels right away. So we know lactate is dealing with anaerobic respiration. So it says, based on the data, propose a hypothesis to explain the change in blood lactate levels in Weddell seals for dives lasting longer than 20 minutes. So I'm going to look back at the Weddell seals here, and it specifically said 20 minutes. So I am going to focus on the 20-minute mark. After 20 minutes, what does that look like? So I've circled it here. It looks like the lactate levels are increasing. So why would lactate levels increase? Well, we make lactate during anaerobic respiration, so there must be less O2. So we've lost oxygen, which we know is our electron, helps our electron transport chain. So we're now just doing glycolysis because we don't have any oxygen, and therefore we are building up our lactate levels. So when I go back down, it says, based on the data, propose a hypothesis to explain the blood glucose lactate levels increase because the organism is performing anaerobic respiration. So you should have said something about anaerobic respiration, and if you check the key in the PowerPoint, you will see the answer says that you should be talking about anaerobic respiration or fermentation. So then scrolling down, predict the most likely shape of the curve if blood oxygen levels of Weddell seals were plotted rather than blood lactate levels. Include in your description the likely shape of the curve between 0 and 20, and then after 20. So we see that in 0 and 20, the amount of lactate produced is fairly stationary. It's not changing. So if we were to be plotting O2, the amount of O2 on the side here, and then the dive on the bottom, hard to draw with the mouse. We would expect when the seal first dived, what would we expect? Would they have a lot of oxygen or little? They should have a lot because they've stored that oxygen in their lungs. But then as time went on, we see that they start to perform anaerobic respiration, and that's why we see more lactate. So as time goes on after 20 minutes, we should expect to see the amount of O2 going down, since oxygen is what is required for aerobic respiration, and after 20 minutes, the Weddell seal is doing anaerobic respiration. So on the second one, we want to say that from 0 to 20, the oxygen levels remain high, and then they decline more than the oxygen levels decline after 20 minutes. And that's exactly what the key says. So then I have gotten that question correct as well. And I get 100%, which this would be 2 points. I get 2 points. Yay. Continue on to the independent practice below and complete those questions to the best of your abilities. Bye, biologists.